What is going on, everybody? We are back for another episode of the ABJ Podcast, episode 98. We are closing in on that episode 100 and also the end of season 1. It's been a crazy journey from last October till now, closing in on the 1-year mark of the podcast, as well as a full season of close to 100 episodes, a little over a year because we started in 2022, but I wanted to extend it out. But seasons are going to kind of go in this podcast every year. So season 1 will be a combination of season of 2022 as well as all 2023. And then season 2 will be all 2024 if we can keep going, because life has been amazing for old ABJ. We're scrounging money to get to pay the bills of the podcast. No longer have a sponsor, so if anyone's looking to sponsor the podcast, you can do so. Hit me up a message, as well as support and links are below if you want to buy some merchandise or join the Patreon and get early access, as well as just general support for the podcast. There are donations as well. If you don't have the monetary value, I get it. We're all broke. This economy sucks and the world's in a shitty place. So the best way you can help me is always hitting that like and share and subscribe button and help out. All that, just the word of mouth and watching the content and commenting and interacting helps more than you know. So that is all appreciated. Also, make sure you check the links below for my guest, their social media, as well as places you can find and support them. Episode 98 will be with Shane Fair, one of my favorite ring announcers in the business. Takes this job very, very seriously, goes above and beyond to make sure anyone who brings their own equipment for the job when they don't have to is A-okay in my book. Dude takes himself very seriously, very, very talented. I've been itching to work with this guy for a long time, and then we finally did in Atlantic City, which was cool because I felt like Atlantic City was a big city feel, you know what I mean? Wrestling city. And then it's been hard to get booked in the same place because he's up in New York a lot. I haven't really broken in up there yet. So every now and then it kind of happens. So if anyone needs commentary on shows that Shane is doing ring announcing, please make that happen. I need that. Actually, I want to sneak Shane on commentary one time. I think that'd be a lot of fun as well. So without further ado, let me bring him in. What's going on, bud?
Hey, what's up? Thanks for that intro, man. Great.
You
So
like
this,
that?
in essence, we're working together tonight, which is final, something that I've been wanting to come for fruition.
Well, the thing that I want to do too is we're actually starting it very it'll already have been started by the time this airs, but we're doing on the Tornado Tag side. So Tornado Tag used to be a podcast, and now it's just like content on my channel. So there's a podcast, and then we're doing like the movie reviews and music reviews and pop culture stuff. That's coming very soon. But we're also doing like wrestling stuff. But what I'm very passionate with the indie scene. So instead of just being like, hey, here's the history of Booker T, or we're watching an old pay-per-view and talking about it, which is all fun. We want to do independent shot spotlights where like we bring in 1 or 2 people as a guest or a guest on, and then you pick 3 independent talent that you really like to showcase, and then I pick 3, and then we kind of talk about them and say why people should be following them, and then link all their stuff below. So I want to start doing that, and I think you would be a good person to bring into the fold as well as a few others, because I think it'd be a great way to get. Oh, please steal the idea, because more people who put the idea, like who share independent content, it helps us all. You know what I mean? Like that word of mouth is how people get jobs and how people move on to the next level of professional wrestling. And you have been in the ring with a lot of people over the past couple of years and got a chance to see firsthand a lot of amazing talent who have come through the Northeast area.
Oh, definitely, Anthony. It's like when you're cross-pollinating so many different promotions, you get a chance to see like all these different talents, and like places where I am given any kind of voice, like Joe Bellini at Warriors is like a great example. Like I'll come flying home from a match, or an event. Oh, Joe, you gotta book such and such. Oh, really? Who do you think they'd be good against? And I'll give my input. And then I remember in the case of like Osito and Ichiban, I ran home after seeing Ichiban. I was like, you gotta have Ichiban and Osito. And then he was excited about it. Like two days later, there's a graphic. So it's like, anytime where your opinion is kind of solicited is just a great feeling. It makes you feel like, that you have. Yeah, exactly. It makes you feel valued, that you have some kind of, rapport with that promoter where you're able to, suggest.
You know how many match graphics I helped put together? Probably not get credit for 90% of them, but I know damn well I'm the reason they have them. But I'm happy they have happen. I'm not there for the credit. I'm not there to get my name plastered on it. I'm just happy because, how you said, you put two names out and then a promotion sees it or they listen to on the podcast and they're like, let's make this match happen. And that makes my heart happy because, once again, I see a lot of matches on commentary. You see them in ring announcing and you're like, man, if you put this person versus this person, that's chemistry. And then it 9 times out of 10 works out. And people from the ring announcing spot and the commentary spot and people who travel like we travel, it's nice when people see that and be like, yo, they probably are onto something. Let's kind of utilize that.
And that's like we're kind of like the worker bees. Like I said, that term that I use all the time is like we're cross-pollinating. You know, like one promoter's in their own lane, this promoter's in their own lane. Anytime you could suggest talent from promotion A to promotion B, you know, to mix with their talent, you are doing that. You're cross-pollinating and you're like making these connections and building bridges that essentially, you know, only you kind of have the capability of doing, because a lot of these people aren't working the different promotions in that capacity.
Yeah,
where they're,
people stay inside their 25-mile bubble, and people who travel outside that bubble are the ones who are like, hey, I was just in this state and this person's really good and he's also willing to travel. You should bring him into this promotion. And it's like a brand new face of these people.
Absolutely. You know, and then you have like that matchmaking capability where you've seen, you know, what their move set is versus this person's move set. And you see how one would complement the other, or a certain character that balances, or is it the same, would be a perfect clash, you know, something like that. You know, it's real nice when your opinion though is, like we said, like solicited and you do have that opportunity to make stuff happen that you envision personally.
Absolutely. That's what makes it all worthwhile. So how early, or what's your earliest memory of falling in love with the world of professional wrestling and consuming it for the first time, kind of getting the bug?
All right. Well, you know, at school you'd see like the when I was younger, you'd see like the LGN, you know, rubber figures and everything. It was kind of like instantly, you know, kind of taken by that. But my father, he's like a double master's, went to St. John's. He's a school teacher. On the weekend, he would be in a biker gang, and he would also be a security for a Ticketmaster. So kind of like a double life kind of thing, you know. So he would always get us crazy tickets to the Meadowlands or the Garden, and we'd go see.
I've never been to the Garden.
House shows. Oh, it was great. You know, like back in the 80s when it was just scaled down with the drop down microphone and all that. Like, you know, I got to witness so much of that. But this also brings me, like, I just want to like say this. I wish that I would have kept all the tickets. Like now I catalog any event I go to. I put it in like a little, you know, file and everything, a database, everything. But now looking back, you see on MSG, they have these exclusive episodes that were taped at these specific house shows. And I'll watch them sometimes like, I think I was at this one, but like, you really wish you can confirm. So I always recommend to like young fans, like that you always either A, keep your tickets, or B, keep some kind of record, because you are going to want to go back, you know, and have some kind of closure like with this.
I don't know where I put it now. I don't know where it went. I don't know. I had it all set up, and I think someone moved it on me. But I didn't get a physical ticket for it, but I have the wristband. So MSG is like probably my number 2 venue that I want to go see. Right. Other one's Hammerstein, and number 1 was Wembley, and I got to knock that off the bucket list. I was actually all in. Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
It was sick. It was unbelievable. But yeah, I definitely see So I have the wristband that says I was on the pit, like on the pitch. It says pitch access.
The pitch A, So difficult. You're so difficult. Yeah. Well, actually, I'm sure we're difficult. King's English, as it were.
I have this whole argument with burgers and like the difference between a burger and a sandwich. When you go over there and you get a chicken burger, because if it's on burger bun, it's a chicken. Everything's a burger. If it's on a burger bun, that's not right. I don't like it. I hate it. We need to go over there. This is the war you should be fighting. Go over and fight just so they change their menus, and then no one has to get hurt, and then we'll get out of there. You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely. There's so much like, you know, lift, elevator, like, you know, there's so much kind of back and forth. I
almost got hit by a car 3 times a day over there, because when you go and you're like, look right, then look left. You look right and you're like, oh, I'm good. And then you get tattooed on the other side.
That's got a deep program. Wow.
It was wild. I got to get inside one of those taxis. I don't know if you've ever done internet research. There's a whole website dedicated to taxis in England. Adult site, we'll say. I was in the taxi. I was like, Oh, this is why they shoot them in here. There's a lot of space.
Oh, okay.
It's like you get in the taxi and it's like there's seats that face each other. Like you can have a party back there. Yeah.
Hey, shout out to Stella Cox out there if you're watching.
Yeah. I'll interview if you want. Yeah. So, who were some of your favorites growing up? During your early childhood.
Well, they definitely the hooks got into me on Hogan, so I was definitely a Hogan guy. But like Mr. Perfect, was one of my guys. I kind of gravitated to the heels, like
same.
More
I was never a Hogan guy.
Yeah.
Never liked Hogan.
No, it just didn't resonate. Like
yeah.
When I
give me Macho Man. I was a Macho Man kid.
Oh, definitely. I like the unpredictability too at that point because you had like so much. It was like confusing as a kid. It's like you got bed sheets, you got Cyndi Lauper, you have a cartoon. It's like there was so much like it was just like full sensory emulsion where you're just like everything was just they're hitting you from every angle at that point. They are too now, but I think with less media back then you were more like captivated by like this onslaught from every conceivable angle, toys, which definitely.
Yeah, I'll do a quick show and tell. So I had a house fire. So I had all my childhood essentially destroyed in a fire, and then so I never really got to say goodbye to any of it. If that makes sense, I guess that's like a grown man. You're like, I see your collectibles. You're proud of us. So this kid I went to school with,
my nightmare.
We reconnected, and he was kind of talking. He's like, yo, like I watched Brett versus Sean at his house when Sean won the title. Like me and he was a huge Brett guy and I was a huge Sean guy. He had all the Hasbros and all the figures, and I was like, man, I always wanted those collections, but I only had a few of them. And I had my favorite figure. It was the Sean figure, the Hasbro Sean, but the black and silver pants. So now,
the later one, yeah,
that's like a $250 figure because it's rare. So this guy's like, yo, man, I have all of my stuff plus triples and doubles because I got really, really into it. So I'm at the bar the other night and I'm doing like a DJ gig, and he just walks in and hands it to me. Like, it's yours, have it.
Mint. That is in beautiful shape too. Not even
it's in great condition. No marks, no scuffs. And he's just like, yo, man, have it.
Problem with those.
And I was like,
the springs are good too still?
Yeah, works perfect.
Nice. Oh, yeah. That's nice.
But it's just like, dude, he gave it to me and I was like, all right, don't cry in public. I was like, yo, you just gave my favorite figure back as a kid. So that's hopefully maybe the first of many. I would love to get the entire Hasbro line again. That would be my goal.
So I had scumbag friends that, all right, when like I kind of got like, the teenage angst thrown out of my house kind of thing where I had to go live with dad for a while. I had a scumbag friend that would come to my mother's house and said, oh, I left a bunch of stuff here. Can I come in and get it? And he cleaned out like all of my G.I. Joes, and like my G.I. Joes were like my sacred cow, like, and many of them I got from a friend who later went on to commit suicide. So it was like I had like a more, they were even more attachment, intrinsically valuable, value to me. So God, so I that was one thing, and I always had just scumbag friends that would always steal from me, but for some reason, like my wrestling figures, I always kept like I guess they safe to some degree. They never got stolen or broke. So I still have all my Hasbros. I have like a good chunk of the set, but I'm missing like, the smoking guns, that's Shawn Michaels, the, a couple of the more valuable ones like the Atom Bomb and such like that. But yeah, I love now that you go and you look, and there's companies who are making their own versions of like newer versions of the old scale G.I. Joes and Hasbros. Like I was looking at one website, they made the Bulldogs, the British Bulldogs, are the with like Dynamite Kid and British Bulldog, like as Hasbros. Like they remade that. They remade a new Atom Bomb. They made like Berserker or something crazy, like ones that were never made, like Ahmed Johnson. Yeah. Like they're making all these crazy new versions of Hasbros, but they look exactly the same. I'm like, I love this nostalgia itch. I wish I had money. The retros are great too. Like, because now you have like like they made like certain ones like Austin and stuff. So I can imagine as a kid, like being able to like throw Austin in the mix of your old figures and like, just like they made a Rowdy
Walmart
Piper
ones
without the kilt and stuff. Yes, exactly. Yeah. And they have I know what is it? Wrestlingfigures.com, whatever, they have the Ringside. I'm thinking, that's
the Walmart exclusives, the W Superstars, are a mix between the He-Man figures, the LGNs, and the WWE now.
Oh, that's sweet.
That's another good line I've been trying to collect. We went into full figure talk. I love that. Who's your pops you got there?
Oh, wait, I got to show you this one. I got to turn it on. Hold on. Got to turn it on.
Is that a custom of you?
Yes, this is from Laura C., who is Laura C. Pops, custom pops by LC. And she did like the sequin with the white gloves and everything. And I got this, the little ring, but yeah, she did such an amazing job on it with, backwards with the sequins.
That's so
and everything.
Sick.
Oh, it's the greatest thing anybody's ever given.
Someone made me a figure, but I've never seen them. But they took they took like a Mick Foley body, and they might have just kept Kevin Owens' body. They just took Kevin Owens' body and then put like AJ Styles' hair on it. Okay, so it's Kevin Owens' face and beard, and then just AJ Styles' hair, and it's the ABJ figure.
I love it.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love it.
Oh man, that's a good one.
It's the only time I ever had something custom made for me, but I didn't get to keep it. He still has it. He I guess he uses it as his figure fed. So I'm on commentary making
some kind of ritualistic activity or something.
Yeah, which I'm cool with it. It exists. It's out there.
As long as it's working, that's it.
Yeah, he's getting more bookings than me. The figure. So when did you transition to, okay, I want to be a part of this business, and was ring announcing always the plan or the goal? Did you transition from, like, how did you break into business, and what were your plans?
Well, like they say, like the most depressing thing for a male, if you're, like, say you're a baseball fan or a basketball fan, when you realize that you're at that age where you can't be in the league anymore, even though you never would have been, like, shit. Nobody's 38 in the league. I can never pitch now or something, like, so that illusion is shattered. Like, so, like, as I always wanted to wrestle. So it was like, as I got older, I was like, look, that door is closed. So I want to, yourself, like, when you're around the business, you feel compelled to want to participate. So it's like, it was always like that drive. I was like, I got to find the avenue. So I knew, like, I had the voice, and I knew, like, that I had the respect for, like, ring announcers, especially like, Fink, and then basically just Fink. That's always kind of been my guy. But I knew that I could apply that kind of, like, professionalism to it. I saw that missing a little bit too, so I was like, that's probably going to be the avenue, that I could probably do this. And they had at Capital Wrestling at the time, it was like a ticket package where it was like, if you paid a certain amount, you could be the ring announcer and you get to pick a match. So the first Capital I go to, and it was some Gavone, I could say that I'm Italiano, but some Gavone goes, he goes up and he's like, hey, all right, the next match is scheduled. I want to go 1-4. Hey, I don't know, this guy over here. So, like,
I'd book him. I would love that guy.
And I was horrified. I'm like, wow. I was like, and I'm looking in this setting, and I'm like, I would love to do this. So I was like, right away, I was like, if they offer this ticket package again, which I hadn't known about previous to this, Paisan, and I was like, I want to do this next time. So, at the time, the guy put the ticket option in. I bought it instantly and everything, and then they said, "Who do you want to announce?" So I looked at the card, and I was like, "Sonny Kiss." I was like, "I'll do the Sonny Kiss match," and I was like, "Let's do it. If we're gonna do it, let's do it right." So sure, got that match. So I go there, and I expected, like, to be handed all the information and such like that. So I was like, "All right, so what do I go about getting the weight and everything?" He's like, "Oh, you got to go ask them. You got to go in the locker room."
Oh my God, they didn't even do that work for you.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, then I was like, this isn't gonna be good. Like, everybody knows me as a fan. I'm like a very vocal, supportive fan. So I go in the locker room, is exactly like what I expected. Like, everybody's looking at me. There's this giant, I I guess like it's under cathedral, so it's like, you know, like that Monday through Friday kind of cleared out cathedral underneath the cathedral. It's a giant room, and everybody's looking at me like, "What did this guy get lost?" Like, you know, like they're looking at me like it was a little weird. And I wasn't just imagining it too; it was like a little strange.
Yeah, no. First time I go to a new promotion, and I'm the first time in a locker room. As a commentator, I'm not comfortable, but like I realize that this is technically not my place, and you have to handle it a certain way. Yeah,
right.
That's what sets you apart, like how you conduct yourself in a locker room.
Yeah, oh, definitely. You got to have respect for it too. Like you can't be just like, you know, and you also have to be protective of it. Like I don't like seeing people that aren't on the show coming and hanging out in the locker room, like especially if there's female talent getting changed and such like that. I'm 100%. A little protective of that and such like that. So, you know, I got the information and everything, and then I forgot. I think somebody said to me, I know who, but it said something like, "Oh, did you get lost or something?" Or like there was some kind of like comment. So I got the information, and I you know, went through with it, and I feel it was like love at first speech for me. Like I just, you know, was instantly in love with it, and people kind of confirmed afterwards that I did a good job, and you know, said, "Hey, if you want to keep doing this, you know, there's a place for you. We could, you know," the initial thing was BWF, like do 15 matches in a 102-degree sauna in the Bronx on Close Avenue. Like, so, you know, I did, you know, like that's where I made my bones. I started there. I started a pro wrestling academy in Connecticut and Cheshire, Connecticut. And, just from then on, it just accrued more and more promotions. And I've never, to this day, it's a streak that I want to keep going, that I've never asked to be anywhere. It's all been a word of mouth and, "Hey, are you busy on the 17th?" You know, that kind of like, I want to keep that intact because I equate it to like, you know, giving the girl at the bar your number versus the girl at the bar giving you her number. Like there's a much better percentage that the girl who gives you her number probably is interested in you versus, "Hey, you know, why don't you call me?" And the girl crumples it up, you know, like, so like, I feel like that the interest level is already there. Like it's a kind of, I guess it doesn't show like very much on the self-esteem on my part, maybe, or I'm not doing it out of an arrogant way. Like, "Oh, let them come to me." It's more like, "Are you sure they like me?" Like, so
yeah, 100%. Like, even booking interviews, I'm terrified to reach out to people. Like, I'm like, "Oh, this is not gonna go well." And everyone's like, "What took you so long to message me?" I was like, I don't know.
That's what I would imagine.
I usually sit back and I go like, "Oh, if I make a post like, who wants to be on?" And then nobody will say anything, and I'd be like, "Oh, now I have to go ask people." But it really comes down to is Facebook. Sometimes people don't see a post. Like you're banking on social media to push you out to be seen. Like you can make a post and only maybe 3 people see it just because of the way the algorithms work. But
agree.
It's tough, and it's like it's kind of shell shocking. Like for me, my first, like I was a fan, went to a show, got invited to start like doing backstage interviews and then commentary and then this and that. And then like, dude, for the first, I still have it to this day. Like sometimes I go to a new locker room, I have imposter syndrome. Like they're going to find out I don't belong here. Yeah.
But it's more healthy to have the imposter syndrome than the brazen, narcissistic, bravado that you just, of course the confidence of I'm meant to be here is fine. But I think coming in on bended knee is like a much more respectful approach. So like the byproduct of that isn't going to be as bad as being like just a douche where
yeah, we have too many of those in the business.
Yes, exactly.
So what made you? I'm sorry, go ahead.
I said there's so many times where you feel like you're held hostage in conversations. So it's like in this business. So I feel like
yeah, totally. So when you started, taking this on the next level and pushing more, what made you develop your style, your look, the gloves, the way you present yourself? Like how long did it take to develop that, and what made you put those pieces in?
All right, well, the gloves were kind of like a happy accident because it was like a BCW anniversary show. So I wanted to go a little bit above and beyond. That was like, for the anniversary, that should be like coattails. It should be something like a little bit more panache than the rest of the year. So I was like, I'm going to get white gloves. So it's like my, I guess, point of references for luxury tuxedos of Bugs Bunny and I love the movie Life is Beautiful with Roberto Benigni. So like I watch that like probably like once a year or something. So like the white gloves that he wears in that and his uncle Ezio in the movie has this like beautiful line as he's got the white gloves on. He says that God is not a servant to man. He serves man, though he's not a servant. And he explains that if a sunflower bows too low before the sun, it dies. And it's like servant is an art. So I was like, service is an art. And like, the white gloves. And I was like, it all kind of like resonated with me, like I guess like in a certain degree. So I was like, I was like, there's some truth to that. So I wore the white gloves, the BCW thing. And the next day I went to, it was called, Wrestling Has a Tomorrow up in Providence. So I just went as a fan. I'm sitting up there, and I was with EC Negro at the time. So we're watching the event, and he's like, you got to wear those white gloves all the time now. And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, that's your thing. He goes, you just have to wear them all the time now. And I was like, I always respected like his, advice and such like that. He was always like an oracle. I always refer to him as like one of my oracles. So I was like, all right, that's what I'm going to do if he's saying it. I actually think I have it like on, I was recording a match when he said it. So I think I have him telling me that. So I got to dig for that because that's like special. Like, cause
when I first seen you, your voice and the way you present yourself caught me, but because you meet so many people and names are just all over the place. And the name didn't get me first, but what got me first was the gloves. The gloves exactly is what, yeah, it's what that's 100% your thing. Like anyone can go up and wear a suit and tie and be a ring announcer and have the fancies. Everyone has fancy suits. Like that's right. The trademark of a ring announcer. The presentation. I think what makes you stand out is, for me anyway, as an Italian as well, I like that you keep who you are as a person, but still bring a broadcaster voice without. We kind of talked about off camera. Adding extra syllables, or making your range, or trying to be the next Howard Finkel, your stuff. Like how you said, if that guy went, hey everybody, I want to do I would love that guy because there's no one else doing that. Like I like when someone just be like is themselves. Even on commentary or when you listen to radio, everyone has to have that radio voice. Like it make it your natural voice. Like I'm like this is like who I am. Like it's tough to stand out. For me personally, when I first went to a show, I would work with Blake Chadwick, who now is on NXT for NXT Level Up. Right. And I walked in and he was like, no suit, tie? And I was like, nah. And he's like, why? I go, it's not me. And he goes,
good for you.
He's like, that's not a good idea. And I was like, maybe, but I want like when I was booked here because of who I am on the podcast. I'm a horror movie T-shirt. I'm a jorts guy. I still rock like skinny jeans if I can. And I said when I do commentary, I said my style is I'm a fan first. So the way I call a match is as a fan, but also I bring a little bit of humor in. And it's like it was kind of like a thing was like, well, that's not a really good thing to do. And then long and behold, Pat McAfee enters the scene, and he's rocking jorts, and he's being unapologetically him on commentary, and everyone loved it. Like John Moxley over Wrestle Week during Wrestle Fest, everyone's like, "Yo, John Moxley was funny on commentary because he's being himself, just calling a match." And I was like, "That's what I like." That was my vision from the start, and people like it.
That's what they're going to respond to, hey, not to blow smoke up your ass, but like, you're a very likable person. So it's like, as long as you're just presenting that, people are going to respond to it naturally. So, yeah. And it's like, and then people also like, in a business that's built on, having a facade or having like, some kind of, underlying tongue in cheek, getting away like a suspension of disbelief and everything. It's people see through bullshit. They have the bullshit detector because of this business, so they know what's authentic and what's not. So if you're presenting yourself as authentic, that's the one thing that they gonna want to see every time is that authenticity from the people that are giving them the information. Maybe not the people that are in the ring, but that authenticity is important. Like that's what really, And
it sucks when they tell you to be yourself or do this or do that. But if you don't stay within the mold of what that presentation should do, like when people say, "Oh, referees act too much," and they take away from the match, but it's like they're doing something different. They're trying it, but it's okay for this referee to do it, but then you hate on every other referee for trying to stand out and be different. Or a ring announcer tries something different. Or I hate when commentary does this, this, and this. They should be worried about the match and not getting themselves over. And it's like, someone told me that once, and I was like, I drove 4 hours to be at this show. I'm going to be me. Am I trying to get over? 100%, just like everybody else in that ring. But I'm also doing my job of telling the story in the ring. But don't tell me to not be anything else than myself, because I have just as much right to be part of the show as you do.
Sure, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's because a lot of people don't think of the ring announcer or the commentary or the cameraman or if everyone brings their own little bit of style, that's what makes you stand out, and that's what is going to keep you getting bookings and making you different from everybody else.
Right. The extra mile is never crowded. That's the other good thing too. That's like, as long as you're doing something, like you said, just outside of the box or just a little bit more, you are going to be recognized. You are going to be, booked.
And it's very transparent when people try to be the next version of you instead of themselves, because they see what's working. Like, I've seen people try to be Shane, like 100%, and I was just like,
kill him.
Yeah. But it's just like
names.
Yeah, but it's just it is what it is, because you stand out. You carry yourself in a different way. And another thing I really respect about you too is you came in as a fan who bought a ticket to possibly get a job, realized you liked it, fought for your spot, kept going for your spot, but then also said like, hey, how do I become more involved with storytelling or booking or this or that? And you did something that was really cool. You helped put together a charity basketball game where the talent played against each other. Like that, like you're a ring announcer who took the extra initiative to say, how can I contribute more in this business?
Oh, that was the greatest, experience. It was, I don't know, it was so emotionally, I was very emotionally invested. So.
All right, give me like 20 minutes. I'm sorry.
You could.
Everyone.
No. So I was very emotionally invested. So there was like a lot of ups and downs to that. But like that, the end result was like over $10,000 for Miracle League of Mercer County. So like that, I wanted to pick a charity. First of the event, it was chicken or the egg. The event came first. I wanted to do a charity. Next, logical question was, what charity can we apply this to? And I wanted to make it a charity that affected a fan that was close to wrestling and close to us. And at the time there was a fan, Azalea, and I was very good friends, very close with Melissa, and we saw that like what happened with Synergy. So the first thing, we won't even talk about that. Everybody knows that pretty much what happened at Synergy. So when that happened at Synergy, not only was talent disenfranchised, but you had a lot of fans. Like the first thing you think is, how does one explain this to their child? What happened and why, hey, next month we're not going to Synergy Wrestling and such like that. So like that was kind of heartbreaking in itself. So it's like, we have to do right by somebody who, a charity involved. It worked out perfectly, that this was a fan of Synergy. A large contingent of the charity, like Matt Vertigo, TJ Crawford, were all people who wrestled at Synergy. So a lot of them were hurt and disenfranchised at the time. So I was like, let's take this energy to help children instead of like what this asshole did, at Synergy. We'll take everybody that was, fallout or caught in that kind of whirlpool that afterwards. We'll take all this energy and we'll blast the fuck out of it the other way. And we'll do something positive for children. So that was the reason for involving a lot of people from Synergy. Like personally, that's why I put them in, because I wanted them to reverse the curse, kind of. So that was it all worked out. Everything just constantly fell into place. But like when you're raising that kind of money, I promised $5,000, and we were getting close, and the money wasn't going up. We're like, I did the draft night fundraiser. We did like there was people like Kevin Nasta and like all sorts of other people that donated a bunch of memorabilia and such like that. We had auctions and such. So raised all the money, and it was still like 2,000, not much. And every night I remember going to bed like just like stressed out. It was like I felt like it was aging me like so badly. And then like this momentum just came like right at the end. And then I guess it felt like once people saw it was going to be a success, then they were like, all right, I could put some money into this, because like now it's like I see it's gonna. And then with admission, with everything else, we raised over $10,000 when the goal was 5,000. So it was like,
how long into the business were you in when you took up this adventure?
I would say 3.5 years. 3.5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was about 3.
Because that could be a thing too. Is like trying to step forward and come out of your comfort zone to do stuff. And in this business, you have a lot of like people are quick. Like, I don't know what, like, who's this guy?
Exactly.
Like, you know what I mean? Yeah,
exactly. And then how about this too? It was like, how do you explain to a charity that everything's on the up and up when you appear out of New York, in the middle of Trenton in a cornfield, and you're like, hey, I want to raise some money for you. Hey, is that okay with you? Like, the guy, like, I think there was a little trepidation where it was like, I don't, you know what I mean? Like,
I did the same exact thing. I did I did a music festival. Yeah, I did a music festival, and I never played an instrument in my life. But before I got into the professional wrestling side of thing, I was very passionate about the local music scene. So I tried to put together a festival. No experience, no nothing. It went off without a hitch. Everyone got paid except me. I got broke on that one, but took a hit. But it was fun. It was a good experience. But then, like, that's when I shifted over to the wrestling side. But then I was like, for Toys for Tots, I was like, well, how can I help for Toys for Tots? So it came about, and I got all the venues, I got all the musicians, all the bands, everything locked in. I just needed Toys for Tots for approval. Probably should have gotten that first, but I wanted to show them that, like, hey, I'm not messing around. This is all done. I just need you. I just need 3 boxes. You don't even need anything else. And I try to make it as easy as possible for them. And I end up doing 3 venues in my little coal region towns that are like 20, 30 minutes apart. And I had one here and another one 30 minutes away here and another one 30 minutes away here. Each venue had 3 bands each that donated all their time to perform for free. Sound guys, you can get into the bar for free to see 3 bands each. All you had to do was give a toy. And any money at the door, if you didn't do a toy, all went to charity. And the guy was like, I don't know who you are. I don't want to do this. And I was like, all right. I said, well, then I'll just find a different charity and I'll go from there. And I went to walk out the door and he goes, hold on, here's some boxes. Let's see what happens here. I'm a little desperate. And it was like right at the deadline. And I showed up the next day with 4 or 5 boxes full of toys and like a couple $1,000s worth of like thing. And then I brought it to the place where all of the toys were set. Like, I'd never seen that side of the charity before. I walk in and it's just like 6 old ladies. And when I say old, I'm not being rude, but I'm like dedicating their time, struggling to move around, and they're just in a warehouse, gymnasium filled with boxes and boxes of toys and bicycles and all this crazy stuff. And I remember bringing oh my God, I'm going to try not to get emotional when I say this, but I brought the first box in, and I remember bringing them all in, and I handed their envelope, which is like, this is amazing. Like this is like the deadline. Like, you just brought them in, a whole 9. And she looks in the box and she sees a giant plushie of Captain Marvel. And she's like, oh my God, that's going to be perfect for little Tiffany. And she grabs it and runs it across the gym, goes through a whole maze of boxes and puts it in the box. She had them memorized, thousands of boxes. She had each kid's list memorized. And I was like, just question what's the Miss Marvel? She goes, this little girl is obsessed with comic books and stuff, but she had no characters. Like, she goes, if she can get a female character, that would have made her day. And that Miss Marvel came in, and she just like picked it up and ran across the gym. And I was like, yo, the pride that this people are putting in,
paid off.
No benefit to anybody. They're not getting paid to do this, but like, she remembered this little girl's list and realized that was the one item, and then that show brought in that one eye. Like, it was just such a cool experience. So like, that's awesome. Seeing your basketball event, like, that was another reason why I like really put me on the map for you, because like, I've been in those shoes, and it's not easy to put together stuff. And how you said it all paid off in the end, you're like, it's like that whole like sigh of relief that once it's all over, you're like, oh, we did it. You know what I mean? Like, definitely. Yeah.
And like, I made sure I got like that giant check that like it hardly fit.
The Michael Scott check.
I was like, I'm gonna spike the football. I was like,
yeah. Who that played in the game that shocked you, or who played in the? Maybe I'll go into the counter of that. I was just like, who sucked that you thought would have been more athletic at basketball, but they were terrible. But I was gonna say, you.
Yeah.
Who shocked you as a good basketball player that you weren't expecting?
Vertigo. Matt Vertigo, I think, was like really good. Grim Like, Hitman for Hire Grimm was just at the end of the game. He ran down. He ran down to like the key, and he turned around, took steps back to go past the 3-point arc, and then pulled up for three. And it was like, I think they were down 2, and it was like the go-ahead basket. But it's like to see he ran past it. It was like it was so devastating the way it took all the morale out of the face team. But he crossed the 3-point line, took almost to the key, backpedaled to the 3, and pulled up a 3. That was rough. Saeed Al Sabah, who is like, that's like my closest friend and like from wrestling ever. And we have like so many just like goofy ass memories, like just like hanging out extracurricularly. And he did like a kip up when he like got knocked out. I was like, wow, when do you see a kip up in basketball?
In basketball.
Yeah, I was like, that's so cool. Like,
Well, listen,
I
was obsessed with basketball growing up. I was very, very athletic. Don't let this Buddha body fool you. I'll probably die or get hurt or dislocate something, but it happens all the time. I'll fight through it. But if there's a basketball game part 2, I need to be a commentator representation.
Oh, hell yeah.
All right. I want to play. I have not played basketball in probably 6 years. But when I seen that game, I was like, I would have liked to play that game. That'd have been fun. But I was so new to the scene, nobody knew who the fuck I was yet.
Bro, but GoPro is like they are the ones that put like it could have just put any game live.
The jerseys were so cool.
Oh, that was my favorite. That cost me like $2,300 out of pocket. Truth be told, that was out of pocket.
They were amazing jerseys.
That. Oh, they were so cool. When a guy like I kind of gave him like an idea what I wanted, and when he returned, like I was like, oh my god! I was like, these logos would stand as like minor league baseball logos. They would have been like perfect. So I was like, so happy with that. So so here's the story on the jerseys. Okay, so like I brought him in a giant Samsonite. I had them all like heels on one side, faces on the other. So I'm facing the wall. Vicky, come up. All right, here's your shorts. So I'm just giving him out, and I'm like in my with my horse's blinders on, and I'm just like going ahead, like working out of the Samsonite. So then I turn around and everybody's got them on. Like it wasn't like I just saw them in drips. Like
were they barking out like these are amazing?
Oh, so sick. And I turn around and like everybody's got them on. Like it was like a reveal for me because I hadn't even put mine on, and like I turn around and everybody, I was like, oh, this is like that was like powerful for me. I was like, holy shit, it's happening. Like I was like, and you know what I liked about this too, because sometimes it's like I get like ADHD on a project, and I'm like, I push so many things aside. I have so many things. So like the fact that I was forced to have to go like from point A to point B in like a project and like have that, no, you have no choice kind of like that was like healthy for me to like make me, show myself that I could like carry something out from beginning to end. And like doing like I always say, like doing this content helped my ADHD a lot. It's like, it's what it definitely you have to rely on yourself, and that's all, And I wanted it to be like people, like I said, it was like basketball is dictatorship, not a democracy. Like people all had like I had to sit through so many awful ideas constantly, and it was just like okay, and then it'd be like forget it, I'm not doing any of that. Like so, like I was like so focused on just doing it my way, like so it was because not like amazing. Insult to anybody. I wanted to just see that I could do that. Like I just
absolutely. I hope you do it again because it was a cool event. It was really really fun. So we're getting close to the end here. Oh sure. Yeah, it was a fantastic. But I want to ask you. We kind of alluded in the beginning, and I want to kind of bring it back first full circle. You get to see a lot of amazing talent. Who are some of your favorite names to call in the ring? Like when you're on the card, you're like, oh, like how like Bruce Buffer has that relationship where a fighter like they get in there like like, I love that he's called like who do you have that chemistry with that you love when you get to work with them?
There's a bunch. So like if I miss any, I'm gonna feel like shit later. But like of course Osito is like way up there. Dan Moff is way up there. Jay Bougie is way up there. Like like I love getting to do that with Jay Bougie. I love Darius and like getting to see that the front row seat is just seeing him with his arms like folded behind his back and him just like vibing to it. It's like that's like the coolest shit. Like that's what I call like the front row seat, where it's like I get to enjoy these things. I'm like, that's why I did that. I started with the announcer cam. I was like, I want people to just see some of this stuff. So like I started putting it on my lapel and everything.
I love that idea.
Yeah, it's been working good and everything. I'm like it's like I want people to see the perspective, because a lot of times it just I feel so lucky, like to be, but okay. So like Dan Moff, Osita, I want to get back to this. Of course, Saeed Al Sabah, even though it's been a very long time. I love Roger Mendez at Warriors, definitely. Max Bain. But it's just so much fun when like I have like little signs like sometimes like Vinny Pacifico, but if you see me tuck the card away, like usually that's somebody that like I love, like that's usually like a little sign I do, like I'll tuck my card in my pocket, like when I do that much shit, like I don't use my card often. It's more like to genuflect, and it's like it's a good safety net to have the information there. But like that's just a symbol I like to give. Like I'll put it in my pocket for certain.
Like, I know who you are. I got you.
Yeah, exactly. So if you ever see me do that, or I put my hand over my, like Lala, Ruthless Lala, and Isaiah Wolf, I love to do. But it's just, and then of course anybody that's a big name, like spoiled, like places like Magic, Battle Club, and Warriors, especially, like they bring in so many legends like for in-ring, and it's like to sit there and see Melina do a split under the ring, and I mean under the bottom rope, and it's like, wow, like of all the places this woman could be in the world, like I'm looking at her do her famous pose, and she's in the same ring as me, so it's never lost on me, like stuff like that.
Who's the first person you marked out for that you're like in the ring with?
All right, the first like person that was like in a WCW, like big three level, ECW, WWE, it was Crowbar. So it was like that was the very first name that I got to do. Gangrel is always great, and like that's always a fun one. And if you look in the Mecca, and like the corner that's like of the mirrors that's closest to the stage or the entrance, you can see there's like a red stain from him, like, and then there's also a green stain from Mantis. So it's like I was like looking at that and like, oh, there's Gangrel's mark on Mecca,
My favorite moment is I was a giant Enzo and Cass fan, so actually that my pops there is an Enzo and Cass one. And Enzo, so the first time I got to meet him, I was only a fan. I was at the show, and that's when Cass just had his like relapse, when he had that big problem and everything went crazy for him. And I was so bummed because I wanted to meet both of them, because I was like, I would die defending them to everybody on the podcast. I was like, they're not,
that's awesome.
Not that good. Ever, like, what I mean? You were split on them, depending on who you were. To this day, I'm still a fan of both. So go to the show. I'm on commentary at PPW. Enzo comes out and he gets his microphone. And he gets no prompt, no nothing, has no idea I'm a mega fan, the whole nine. And he goes, I got something to ask you, brother. And he gets right in my face. And he goes, how you doing? And I just went, yes. like he did the how you doing to me. That's and I was just crazy. Like, I'm on commentary. Like, no one comes to commentary. Yeah, he like nose to nose. How you doing? That's and I just was like, he walked away and I was just like, woo!
All right. So one time at Finbar, I'm in St. Finbar at Warriors, and he's not a guest. He's not like on the card. He's just hanging out. So he's like back behind the curtain. So I go through the curtain and there's fucking Enzo. Like, and like, I had no idea he was going to be outside. I was like, what the fuck? So I shake his hand like a second. So I was like, oh, I apologize for the glove. And he goes, don't apologize for the gloves. The gloves are mint. So I had this little like moleskin book where I always put like little shit that happens, like, and that's definitely in there. Like, that moment, I was like, don't apologize for the gloves. The gloves are mint. I was like, that's fucking great.
I got to do commentary with Jillian Hall. That was fun.
Oh wow!
Me and Jillian Hall called a match, and with JC Storm was in the ring, and the whole time she kept saying, "I want to eat her cotton candy." I go, Jillian, that's a radioactive cloud that will kill you. like just bantering with Jillian Hall on commentary over JC Storm match was so much. And then later on that night, Angels and 10 were there, the Dark Order. And I was like, hey, listen, I'm a huge Dark Order fan. Like, I love the Dark Order, like Dark Order mask right there. And I was like, can I get a photo joining the Dark Order? And they're like, yes. And Jillian Hall's like, can I join the Dark Order too? And I'm like, get in here. So like, it's all of us taking our photo as Dark Order members with Jill. And I'm like, I joined the Dark Order with Jillian Hall.
Wow.
Another stupid moment. Like, it's just fun, man. Cool. Like, that's why I relate so heavily to you. Like, we're fans who got an opportunity to be there. We conducted ourselves properly. We treat the business the way it should be treated, and we're having amazing moments, and it's just fun.
The good hallmark of a good story is like if you go to like if you hear somebody that is outside the business talking about somebody that you had that moment with, and you're like, I'm not going to tell it because this guy's going to just think I'm full of shit. So it's like when you have a story that's that caliber, it's like that. It's almost a good feeling where you got to pull back and like, like, oh, Jack Swagger. And it's like, nah.
Yeah. Or when they're like, oh, this guy's a real piece of shit. And you're like, I did not have that experience with him.
No,
I had it on. No. Like you met him at a meet and greet. I was backstage chopping it up with him. Man. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Darius. Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God. He's hands down. I'm going to keep saying it until he comes on. That is my bucket list. One of my bucket list interviews. He is one of my all-time favorites on the scene right now. I think he is insanely. No one tell him that no one, you didn't hear this, but he's actually a really, really nice guy. He's the greatest character in professional wrestling, but behind the curtain, he is a good person to be around.
Believe it.
I'm sorry, I'm breaking the mold for him, but he's just he's someone that you want to have a conversation with, and after you have a conversation with him, you feel better about yourself in this industry, and you just pull stuff from him that helps you, whether you're a commentator, whether you're anything. He's a good person to bounce stuff off of.
Oh, he'll hold court too. Like if you're having a conversation, he'll hold court, and like the masses will, kind of like that hack.
People listen when he talks. Yeah,
nothing attracts a crowd like a crowd. Yeah, oh, definitely.
Mm-hmm. So, who are some independent talent out there that people should be more aware of that you've been seeing on the scene, or some talent that are not getting, that you said the respect they deserve, or some promotions that more people should seek out?
Well, definitely, like, Roger Mendez out of Warriors. He's like a thoroughbred, he's like like we say, a 5-tool player. He's got everything, so he's definitely one. Marcus Mathers, I see, is getting, every time you open up social media, he's got a new championship. So I don't think he needs to be put over, but maybe Wasted Youth together, that's definitely, one of the best tag teams going. Steve Pena, he's always he's a living gladiator. So I think, like, he should be out there a lot more. Osito, everybody's woken up, to Osito. Everybody knows, what he brings to an event. So, I love, like, Alex Ryman's doing like the best work of his life right now over at Magic. Like, who else? We are, I'm trying to think who at BCW. Well, I always love Notorious Mimi. I always think she's like one of the greatest there is. Yeah, I mean, there's so many right now, but I think I named like most of the ones that I'm very strongly supportive of, for sure. JC Storm, of course, and you don't have to put her over. She's in a new, she's a globetrotter. She's
that New York scene for me. The first promotion that I fell in love with without even seeing one of their shows or anything, but just because of the students that have came out of that school. Hog. And you work with Hog. There's not a talent that I've met that came out of that school that I didn't fall in love with, who I didn't become super close with, who every time I see them, I want to hug them. Like Main Event, Evander James, JC Storm, Rembrandt, Cosmic, like when they were a part of that at one point in time. Like they're just everyone who, like Charles, like I remember Mason before he was a serial killer, like, and he was kind of in between babyface and heel at certain places, and he's taken over the world. Like the people who have come out of that school just conduct themselves differently, and that's a great New York school. And that what's the one that they're at? A lot of them are at now. The Battlefield.
The Fallout Shelter. The Fallout Shelter.
That is a promotion too.
Warriors Training Center and Hog are the three best in the city, as far as I'm concerned. And like all three of them are turning out, constant, good, good crops of talent. I think Warriors is like really unsung, like with like, they have a crop, that included like Max Payne, Roger Mendez, Dexter Obsidian, and like all these guys they're good to go with anybody, like anybody that comes through there, like on a WWE, former superstar level, they can go toe to toe with, and
I see the other school there that never got a chance to do up in New York, but every talent that came out of there I love is Gleason's Gym, Johnny Rod's school.
Oh, sure. Definitely.
Got to get up there in the New York. When I get my car back, I'm coming up. I'm going to explore that New York scene. I'm not booked anywhere anymore, so I might as well, when I come back, just kind of, I want to re-enter the world of professional wrestling more as the fan content side of thing. If I'm welcome backstage, cool, but that's not my goal. I just want to kind of go and be supportive. I want to kind of go and be supportive and go that route. If I get invited to do more, I'll do it. But it's going to be a nice little rebirth when I finally get my wings back, But where can people find you on social media? Or support you?
World's Fair NYC at Instagram, Shane Fair. You know, it's my shoot name. It's like on Facebook, and at Shane Karma on Twitter, because that World's Fair NYC guy just won't let go of it. I send him threatening messages. Gonna pull his dock. No, I'm not gonna.
Yeah, wait, send some boys up to his house.
That's right.
You still have any of those old? You still have little biker gangs from your old man? Send them up.
I'll send the announcer from that First Capital that I saw there. Hey, this guy. Hold on, what's his name? Oh, Shane Fair. He needs to stay.
Yeah, man. Anything else you want to plug? Anything else you want to get out before we get out of here?
No, man. Just I just on a personal note, I hope that you're out there a lot more, man. It needs you, man. And anywhere you are, like you're that type of entity where everybody just smiles upon seeing you. Like you bring that good presence, like whether you're like Jesus in Atlantic City, where
that was awesome.
Where only the Antichrist seems to be welcome, but still,
I was drunk as shit that night. I got hammered.
Hands.
Yeah, it was fun. That was a great show. I just remember being on commentary. And it was me and Pete, and then that dirty rotten John Weiss got on commentary, and he just sucks. He's terrible, and I just made fun of him the whole show on commentary. Just roasted him the whole time. Go listen to IWTV. Head over to IWTV. It's probably under standalone, because all the promotions kind of go under standalone. I don't even know if it's there anymore. It might be under a different thing, but it was a great show. The editing was done very well. Whoever did it, great job to you. As well as just go listen to me make fun of John Weiss for 2 hours, and then you get see this amazing guy on commentary dressed up Halloween spooky style.
Oh, that's cool, man.
It was a fun show. Pete Corvus and what's it? Oh my god, I'm having a brain fart. Charlie Bonifer in that light tube match. That was yikes.
Oh, I had Gary Wolf, all his accolades on the index card, and I remember in the ring, I'm like, where did his card go? And I looked down, it was in the ring, and went. Like if I saw it blow away, I was like, "Oh fuck!"
Yeah, this guy's been everywhere. Everybody.
Yeah. What do you? I got a 1 and 2 shot here. Pitbull number 2.
He wore a halo at one point. He's killing it.
That's right. The guy that
he's unfortunately
Douglas shook around.
Yeah, now he's unfortunately with the biggest douchebag in wrestling, but we won't talk about that. But what's he gonna do about it? Nothing. Anyway. Shane, I love you to death. We got to do part 2, and do this more often. Like I said, I love having you around. I love talking to you and chopping it up. We got to do it more often.
Oh, you too, man. Definitely.
All right, everybody, we will see you close to that episode 100. Episode 99 is coming. Thank you. Episode 99 will be next Thursday, closing out the new year. Thank you all so much for the support. Make sure you check out the links below to support myself and Shane. Grab some merchandise and all that fun stuff. This has been the ABJ Podcast. Here's some music by the Converse Kid, and we'll see you next time. Alrighty. So I do got to get out of here. I have people downstairs.
Yes, sir.
Coming up the whole time to me. The whole time I'm recording. Hey, do you use Discord by chance?
Not really. Like I'm on Xbox too. I really probably should and shit.
Yeah, if you ever get a Discord, let me know, man. I have a really cool community. A lot of people were really excited for this interview and like to talk to you and hang out with you if you ever want to come in and talk wrestling with us.
Oh, anytime.
Yeah. There's people that wanted to do some stuff with you, but unfortunately I gotta cut out of here. But thank you so much for this, and as soon as everything airs, I
didn't see that. I didn't see those questions.
That's all right. No, I was kind of we were chopping it up, so I missed some stuff. But yeah, Hunter Dillon, he's Logos by Hunter on Instagram. If you want to contact him, he's really, really good at logos and merchandise. He's helped me out a lot. But I do got to cut out of here.
That's his handle, Hunter Dillon 95 on Instagram.
Hunter Dillon 95 is his personal account, but he has Logos by Hunter as well.
Oh, okay.
He's actually in here. He's in here if you guys want to talk a little bit, but I do got to cut out. I'll bring him in.
Man. Hey, what's up, Eddie?
But you guys have fun.
My microphone.
You got it.
Shane, I appreciate you.
Anytime, Anthony.